klase natin. Okay, may I call Ma'am Eileen? And before we start your presentation, ma'am, let's please up prayer po. Okay? And this afternoon, our subject is method of teaching in learners with disability po. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let us pray. Panginoon na aming Diyos, sa hapong ito ay nagpapasalamat kami sa iyo, Panginoon, sa patuloy mong pag-iingat sa bawat isa sa amin. We're asking you to guide us sa aming professor, maging ang aming pong mga classmates, kung saan man kami, ang bawat isa sa amin, Panginoon, ingatan at patnubayan mo kami. Magalang namin hinihiling ang lahat sa pangalan ni Jesus na aming tagapagligtas. Amen.
Amen.
Good afternoon, Doc. Good afternoon po, classmates. Makita po ba ang screen? Hello po.
Pakilala na. Then later on, just pick up the height icon dito para kasi naka-full screen ka, yung name mo natatakpan. Tama po. Ayan, okay na. Thank you. You can start.
Thank you po. So this afternoon, we'll be discussing the teaching learners with physical and health disabilities. So focuses on cerebral palsy, spina bifida, chronic illnesses, physical accessibility in classroom modification, adaptive devices, and assistive technology. So for this session, here is our topic learning outcomes. First, we have recognized the communication, sensory, and physical barriers experienced by learners with disabilities. Second, demonstrate effective teaching strategies for speech, language, hearing, and visual impairments. Third, adapt classroom materials and environments to ensure accessibility and equity. Fourth, integrate assistive technology and adaptive devices to support learners with physical and health-related disabilities. So here is the so if you want to share something po later, you can share your experience. Kasi po wala pa po akong experience on handling learners with physical and health disabilities. So here, learners with physical and health disabilities, they are the students whose conditions affect their movement, strength, or health. Just like what you have seen in the pictures, they may experience barriers in movement, stamina, communication, or access to materials. However, inclusive education ensures that they receive equal learning opportunities in regular classroom. So understanding physical and health disabilities. According to Halahan, Kaufman, and Pullen 2022, physical and health disabilities may affect. First, we have here the mobility. So for example, a learner using a wheelchair may need ramps or a seat near the door for easy access. Another is the coordination. For example, a learner who have difficulty holding a pencil ay pwede siyang gumamit ng assistive tools like a ticking pen or a typing instead of writing. Another for the speech. For example, a learner with a speech difficulty may answer through writing or pwede din siyang gumamit ng communication devices. Pang-apat are the strength or stamina. So for example here, a learner who easily gets tired. So kailangan niya po ng rest or breaks or a shorter task. So, for our first topic is the cerebral palsy. So, here is the picture showing learners with cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy, it is a condition that affects a person's muscle control, movement, and balance. It is caused by damage to the brain before or during birth. So, cerebral palsy, it is the most common physical disability in children. So, each learners, merong mild, meron ding severe. So, many learners with cerebral palsy have a normal intelligence. Kailangan lang nila ng proper support so they can learn, they can join the activities, and succeed. So, as a teacher, we should be patient, we should give extra time, and use assistive tools or modify our activities. So here, learners with cerebral palsy may have difficulty walking. So, nahihirapan din sila in writing or speaking. Teachers can help the learners by giving extra time, using assistive devices, and allowing different ways to answer the activities. So, addressing the needs of learners with disabilities, the cerebral palsy. First, provide accessible seating and classroom space for mobility aids, just like wheelchair or walker. So, mostly, yung mga students na may disability like cerebral palsy ay nakaupo sila sa malapit po sa door. Yun po ang aking napansin when we have our visit sa isang particular school po sa Sarangani. So, allow time for writing and completing tasks due to motor difficulties. So, as a teacher, we should give clear, short instructions and break tasks into smaller steps. We should use assistive devices such as adapted pencils, communication boards, or tablets. We should provide physical support or prayer assistance during activities, and coordinate with the therapist and parents to follow recommended strategies. So, next we have here the spina bifida. So, here is the picture showing the learner with the spina bifida. So, it is a birth condition where a spine does not develop properly. Some students with this condition may have weakness or paralysis in their legs, or may use a wheelchair or braces. So, it happens during early pregnancy when the spine doesn't close properly. So, may mga learners, they're mild, meron ding mga serious na ganitong conditions. But, many learners with spina bifida have a normal intelligence. So, kailangan lang ng parents during their pregnancy na mag-inom ng folic acid just to help reduce the risk. So, as a teacher, we should make sure that the classroom is accessible, and we should provide support during activities. Addressing the needs of learners with disabilities is spina bifida. First, ensure barrier or free classroom access and comfortable setting. Allow frequent restroom breaks when necessary. So as a teacher, we should be supportive. Kailangan nating maging patient sa ating mga learners, lalong-lalo na po yung may ganitong mga disabilities po. So, be mindful of possible mobility limitations and adapt physical activities. And as a teacher, we should provide extra time for movement between activities. And we should monitor health needs and signs of fatigue. Maintain regular communication with the parents and health professionals. Next is the chronic illnesses. So ito yung mga, this picture shows the different chronic illnesses. So it is chronic illnesses are long-term health conditions such as asthma, diabetes, or health problems. For example, here is the asthma, epilepsy, diabetes, or cancer. This may cause frequent absences and fatigue. So, these conditions can be managed but not always cured. So, the learners can still learn normally with the support of the teachers. So, each learners here needs a different, each learners are different. So, as a teacher, we should know the health plan of our particular learners na mayroon pong chronic illnesses. So, learners with chronic illnesses may miss school and often get tired easily. So we should be, as a teacher, kailangan nating maging considerate. Kasi nga, ito sila yung mga students na kadalasan ay absent. Kasi nga, masama or merong visit sa doctors. So, teachers can help by giving flexible deadlines or make-up activities, and especially, kailangan natin ibigay sa ating students ang emotional supports. So, addressing the needs of learners with disabilities or chronic illnesses. So, as a teacher, we should provide flexible schedules and deadlines due to possible absences. So, we should prepare make-up work or alternative learning tasks when the learner misses the class. So, allow rest periods if the learner experiences fatigue or discomfort. And we should maintain a safe and supportive classroom environment. Especially, we should coordinate with the parents or the school health personnel regarding the learner's condition. And we should provide emotional support and encouragement to help the learners stay engaged in school. So, we have the recognized communication, sensory, and physical barriers. We have, for the communication barriers, we have here the difficulty speaking clearly, by delayed language, trouble expressing ideas. For the sensory barriers, we have the hearing impairment, the visual impairment. And for the physical barriers, are the obstacles in the environment that make it difficult for learners with physical or health disabilities to move, or access facilities, or participate fully in school activities. So, kung nakita po natin sa pictures, yan po yung mga larawan ng physical barriers. So, here is inaccessible school building, no ramps or elevators or handrails, narrow doorways and hallways that cannot fit the wheelchairs or the mobility aids. So, kailangan natin ang ating school, medyo wide po yung ating hallway para po hindi po maipit po yung mga wheelchairs or the mobility aids po ng ating learners. We have stairs without ramps or lifts. Classroom with limited space for movement or assistive devices. Ito po yung mga physical barriers. We have the desks and chairs not adjustable for the physical needs. Restroom not designed for accessibility. Uneven floors or slippery surfaces that make movement difficult. lack of accessible transportation from school. Also, the playgrounds or activity areas not inclusive for students with disabilities. And poor classroom layout that blocks easy. So, ito po yung mga hadlang po sa ating mga students na may physical disabilities. Next, here is the demonstrate effective teaching strategies. So, ito po yung ating mga strategies na ating gagawin po. Based on Halahan et al. 2022 and Tomlinson 2017 for speech and language impairments, so as a teacher, we should use visual aids such as pictures, charts, and graphic organizers to support understanding. We should give the learner extra time to speak or respond during discussions. We should encourage our learners to use gestures, drawing, or writing if speaking is difficult. So, model correct pronunciation and sentence structure without criticizing the learner. So, as a teacher, we should work closely with a speech therapist when available. So, hearing impairments, as a teacher, so the learner should face the learners when speaking so they can read lip. Another, we should use captions in our videos. We should provide written instructions, and we should provide printed notes or summarizes of the lesson. We should use sign language or gestures if the learner understands them. And we should also provide or use visual presentations like slides, videos with captions, and written instructions. For visual impairments, as a teacher, we should provide large print materials. Should read aloud what is written on the board. We should use audio materials and allow tactile learning materials para po maintindihan tayo ng ating learners na mayroong visual impairments. And for the physical disabilities, so as a teacher, we should arrange the classroom so that it is accessible and safe for movement. So we should also allow the use of assistive devices such as wheelchairs, walkers, adaptive keyboards, or writing tools. As a teacher, we should also provide extra time for tasks and activities. Modify activities and materials based on the learner's ability. We should also provide alternative ways to complete tasks such as oral responses instead of written work. And encourage peer support and cooperative learning. So this, yung mga strategies ay naka-anchored or follow the principles of universal design for learning such as UDL, from IRIE Center and CAS guidelines. So, here is the principle of universal design for learning. So, ito yung magagamit natin in handling students with disabilities or physical. First, we have the multiple means of engagement. These are the different ways to motivate and involve learners. So, where we use varied activities to keep students interested and active in learning. Another, multiple means of representation. So, ito yung different ways of presenting information. Ito yung paggamit ng pictures, videos, audios, and demonstration so learners can understand better. Another is the means of multiple means of expression. or different ways for learners to show what they know. So allowing the students to answer through speaking, writing, drawing, or using devices. Third, we have here the adapt classroom materials and environment. So as a teacher, we should provide accessible classrooms, flexible activities, and extra support for our learners with physical and health disabilities. For the classroom modification, so we should arrange desks for wheelchair access. Arrange space for easy movement. Flexible seating arrangements. Ensure accessible pathways. Should provide proper lighting and reduce noise and distractions and create a safe and organized environment. For the material adaptations, so as a teacher, we should simplify instructions, add pictures and visual aids, should use large print and clear fonts, or high contrast print, should provide digital copies, provide audio and digital materials, and use hands-on learning. So, integrate assistive technology and adaptive devices. So here, so it helps learners with disabilities access lessons, communicate effectively, and participate actively in classroom activities by using the assistive technology and the adaptive devices. So here, for the assistive technology or devices, for the speech and language impairments, so speech generating devices or communication apps. So by using picture exchange communication system or PEX card. Yun pong nasa picture po. Another, the voice recording tools or text to speech apps. Another, how teachers integrate them. Allow learners to use communication boards or apps to express answers by providing visual aids, pictures, and symbols during discussions. Also, encourage the use of speech therapy apps for pronunciation and practice. Another, assistive technology devices for learners with hearing impairments. So by using hearing aids, FM systems or classroom sounds amplification systems, or captions, videos, and speech-to-text apps, as what you have seen in the pictures, and po ang larawan na nagpapakita po ng devices na gagamitin natin for the learners who have hearing impairments, and how teachers integrate them by using visual presentations such as slides, charts, and written instructions, or face the learner with speaking to support lip reading. Should provide written summaries and captions for videos. Another, assistive technology devices for the learners with physical disabilities by using wheelchairs or the mobility aids. Adaptive keyboards and mouse devices by the use of tablet or computer with accessibility features. So how teachers integrate them? So the teachers provide written summaries and captions for videos, allow learners to use adapted keyboards or touchscreens for written tasks, and also provide digital assignments instead of handwritten work when needed. And for the summary, teaching learners with physical and health disabilities requires awareness of barriers, flexible teaching strategies, classroom adaptation, accessible technology integration, inclusive education. It is not special treatment, it is equal access. So, as educators, our goal is not just to teach lessons, but to remove barriers to learning. So, as a teachers, we will provide support, understanding, and equal opportunities so our learners can succeed. So, these are the references of my report, and that's all. Thank you so much for listening. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you po,
Thank you
ma'am.
po.
May katanungan regarding teaching learners with physical and health disability. May additional input or comment or recommendation dito? Or ba naka-experience ng ganito? Kasi narinig ko parang wala nga daw siyang ganong experience sa ganitong scenario. Here kasi, sige, mamaya, kayo muna. Nagdiretso na ako nagdiretso. Go, ano, sino?
Sir, meron po kaya niyang report ko din siya, so I'll just share later when I report.
Sorry, ano po? Sino nagsalita kanina?
Ay, ako po, sir.
Okay, Mama April, go ahead.
Ano po, share ko na lang siya mamaya during my report kasi assistive technology din yung report ko.
Okay, nasakop lang ni... Okay, I want to share naman dito doon sa ibang bansa or probably sa US kasi doon talaga nakikilala yung another health impairment. Regarding doon na tayo sa okay, yung another health impairment. Dito kasi hindi pa masyado nare-recognize like sa asthma nga dito. Depende pa sila anong kategorya